The story unraveling around Beyoncé and Jay-Z is unlike anything fans or critics ever imagined. It's no longer just tabloid fodder or industry whispers. This is a full-blown legal storm with federal prosecutors digging deep and tapes surfacing that could change everything we thought we knew about the power couple. At the heart of this storm lies a web of rumors, legal threats, and chilling insider accounts suggesting that Beyoncé and Jay-Z might be facing some of the most serious scrutiny of their careers. But how did it get this messy? And why now? This isn't just about celebrity gossip anymore. This is about the collapse of an empire built on influence, secrecy, and control. The catalyst for all this chaos traces back to one of the biggest names in hip-hop, Diddy. His trial, which was already intense, exploded when bombshell testimonies and leaked court documents started pointing fingers at his closest circle, hinting that some of his most powerful allies could be next. Beyoncé and Jay-Z, long thought to be untouchable, suddenly found their names whispered quietly in courtrooms and on the streets. What began as an investigation into Diddy's empire now threatens to pull down the very pillars of the music industry's elite. And the rumors don't stop there. Whispers of secret plans to vanish, canceled tours, and frantic attempts to shield themselves from the fallout have the world watching every move they make. This legal pressure has reportedly pushed Beyoncé and Jay-Z into a corner. Sources close to the couple claim they've already begun to make moves that sound like more than just damage control. Beyoncé, known for her meticulous control over her career, has allegedly canceled multiple upcoming tour dates, sparking speculation about the true reason behind these sudden changes. Far from a simple break or creative pause, insiders suggest this is a strategic retreat. The plan, to slip away quietly, possibly to countries with no extradition treaties, places where they could avoid facing charges if things escalate. It's a drastic step, one that reflects just how dire their situation might be. What makes this all the more fascinating and chilling is that it's long been assumed Beyoncé was more of an observer in the wild party scene connected to Diddy, while Jay-Z was the real player. But new accounts suggest Beyoncé was deeply enmeshed in this world too, not just a bystander, but an active participant in the lifestyle that prosecutors are now scrutinizing. This revelation flips the narrative on its head and forces a fresh look at how the couple has operated behind closed doors. Their public image of untouchable royalty now stands in stark contrast to the shadows growing around their names. Digging deeper into their relationship with Diddy reveals a complex history. At one time, Jay-Z and Diddy were not just acquaintances, but close confidants. Jay-Z was among a select few allowed to call Diddy by his birth name, Sean, a sign of true intimacy rarely seen in the public eye. Beyoncé and Jay-Z often welcomed Diddy to their exclusive Roc Nation brunches, events that were the hottest ticket in town. But everything changed after the Cassie lawsuit exploded into public view. Suddenly, Diddy was erased from their circle, treated like a ghost, fueling speculation that his fall from grace wasn't just personal, but part of a bigger strategy. The fallout from that break was more than just a falling out. It gave rise to stories like the one from rapper Deeb, who recounted being invited to a secret party at Diddy's Los Angeles estate in 2020. At this ultra-private gathering, Jay-Z and Beyoncé were present, along with a handful of others, and the atmosphere was described as charged with a kind of reckless abandon, what many are now calling a freak-off vibe. This glimpse inside their inner circle offers clues about the lifestyle that may have made them vulnerable to legal scrutiny and public backlash. But the most unsettling part is the resurfacing of Jay-Z's controversial past, which has long been shrouded in whispers. Years ago, rumors swirled about a relationship between Jay-Z and Foxy Brown when she was still a minor. For years, Jay-Z fought hard to keep those allegations at bay, painting them as baseless. However, Dame Dash, Jay-Z's former business partner, recently refused to deny those claims on camera, instead telling interviewers to ask Jay-Z directly, an uncomfortable silence that's fueling renewed speculation. Add to that his history of collaborations with R. Kelly, a figure mired in his own scandals, and a disturbing pattern begins to emerge, one of powerful men operating in morally gray, even dark territories. Jay-Z's alliance with R. Kelly, in particular, has drawn sharp criticism. They created music together and toured extensively, even as R. Kelly faced mounting accusations. Dame Dash's public distancing from Jay-Z was reportedly triggered by Jay's refusal to sever ties with R. Kelly, a decision that many see as tacit approval or worse. This parallel between Jay-Z and figures like Diddy and R. Kelly is starting to look less like coincidence and more like a troubling legacy of silence and complicity in an industry rife with exploitation. Behind their carefully constructed public persona lies a relationship that looks more like a high-stakes business deal than a fairy tale romance. On the surface, Beyoncé and Jay-Z radiate perfection, red carpet glamour, joint business ventures, and an image meticulously curated to project power and unity. But sources say that off-camera, the dynamic is far more controlling and at times toxic. Beyoncé's life, once full of promise and youthful innocence, has reportedly been managed down to the last detail by Jay-Z and her own family, particularly her mother. The control extends to her music, image, schedule, and even personal freedoms, a level of oversight that some insiders compare to manipulation. Adding fuel to the fire, Beyoncé's former bodyguard, known as Uncle Ron, recently went viral with claims that Jay-Z introduced her to various substances, purportedly to keep her compliant and dependent. This allegation echoes stories from others in the industry, like Cassie, who spoke out about similar tactics used by Diddy to maintain control over those in his circle. If true, these revelations paint a chilling picture of power wielded not just through fame and money, but through addiction and coercion. The pressure seems to be taking a toll on Beyoncé. Close friends and insiders report she is desperate to escape this suffocating grip. Despite the millions and global fame, she's said to feel trapped, robbed of a personal life or autonomy. Mental health struggles, including bouts of depression and hopelessness, have been whispered about in hushed conversations. Some sources suggest she's quietly making plans to break free, even going so far as to consider disappearing entirely, a drastic move reflecting just how deep her struggles run. This sense of desperation coincides with an increasingly silent public presence. The Rock Nation brunch, once a major event that brought together the biggest names in entertainment, has vanished without explanation. Celebrities who once vied for invites now face silence. The couple's teams have declined to comment, fueling speculation they are laying low to weather the storm. Financial maneuvers back this up. Beyoncé has reportedly been renegotiating contracts, pulling out of deals, and canceling tours not because of lack of demand, but in preparation for a planned exit. Even divorce rumors have surfaced, with insiders saying she wants to secure her finances before completely cutting ties. Legal circles are now watching closely, and the stakes have never been higher. Rumors swirl that authorities are considering flagging the couple's passports to prevent international travel. The idea of fleeing to countries without extradition treaties is no longer just gossip, but a real strategy being explored. Luxury properties in remote locations and off the grid. Homes are reportedly being considered as safe havens. The couple understands all too well what happened to Diddy, the raids, the lawsuits, the media frenzy, and they're determined not to face the same fate. The public narrative around Jay-Z and Beyoncé has flipped dramatically. Once hailed as savvy business moguls and untouchable icons, cracks have begun to show. The obsession with image, the controlling behavior, and the swirling controversies now dominate headlines more than their musical achievements. When Cassie's lawsuit became public, initial shock gave way to deeper scrutiny as tapes and aligned. Stories emerged, prompting questions about how many stars have turned a blind eye to darker truths behind the scenes. Fans, too, have shifted. Those who once defended the couple fiercely are now voicing doubts and fears. Comments like, "She never seemed free," and "We missed the signs" are becoming common. Jay-Z's past isn't going away either. Old interviews resurfaced. Documents and outspoken former collaborators like Dame Dash threaten to pull more dirt into the spotlight. This isn't just entertainment gossip anymore. It's a reckoning for an empire built on silence and secrets. What makes this unraveling even more urgent is that legal pressure is mounting. Calls are growing louder online for accountability, not just socially, but through law enforcement. Demands for immediate investigations and passport restrictions show a public no longer willing to overlook alleged abuses of power. The weight of public opinion combined with potential legal consequences puts Beyoncé and Jay-Z in a precarious position. The question remains, will they be able to evade the fallout, or will this be the end of an era? As the investigation continues and more information surfaces, the legacy of Beyoncé and Jay-Z hangs in the balance. Their story, once defined by talent, ambition, and influence, is now being rewritten under the harsh light of scandal and suspicion. This isn't just about two individuals. It's about the music industry, power dynamics, and the costs of silence. The truth, it seems, is catching up fast, and no one knows what the final chapter will look like.